This week's video is a fundraiser for the Global Fund for Women, an organization that empowers justice for women around the world. All the Google AdSense revenue from this video will go to the fundraiser, along with any donations that you make. You can make a donation right here on this YouTube page, and it will be YouTube and Google that'll make sure the money goes where it is supposed to. Thank you for being here, for being part of this moment and being part of seeing where it is that the next moment takes us and what it is in this world that we will co-create together. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of April 9, 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. And this is huge. Here we are, the one day that I know a lot of astrologers do look forward to, and a lot of people love hearing about and anticipating. It is, of course, what some astrologers like to call the luckiest day of the year. It is when the sun meets Jupiter in the sky, magnifying the energies of both. The higher understanding of the sun is about shining bright, seeing clearly. It's about knowing whom it is that we are and living from that place of truth. And the higher understanding of Jupiter, of course, is optimism. It is hope. It is belief that we can move in more positive directions in our individual life, but certainly as part of the collective as well. This time, though, the individual is emphasized in some ways because this conjunction is taking place in the sign of Aries. And it is here that it becomes very much about trusting your own creative impulse, the thing that feels most immediate, that you most want to do, what it is that lights you up, what it is that makes you feel like a little kid. Energy like this says, go and do that, and that'll help unlock blessings for you. But I've found that sometimes people don't realize what actually is a blessing playing out in their lives. With the sun conjunct Jupiter, it usually doesn't take too long to figure it out, no matter what a particular moment may bring. Jupiter is, of course, ruler of Sagittarius and ancient ruling planet of Pisces. As much as Sagittarius energy represents the adventure, getting out there in the world, it is the energy of Pisces that speaks to going within and realizing there is a depth of understanding a spiritual world that we can find and that we have yet to understand more deeply as part of ourselves, our identity, and our own individual journey. How is it that that spiritual journey ultimately contributes to the well-being of the whole, of the larger one, which is everyone and everything? Well, that's part of the journey of exploration that Jupiter takes us on. With Jupiter in the sign of Aries, though, it shares the fire element with Sagittarius. And so the more individualistic elements are emphasized now, and yet the spiritual elements are always there. Most people, when the sun conjuncts Jupiter, in some way feel their world expand. It grows. They feel aware of opportunities that are available to them. They feel more positive, and that positive energy turns around so that they can recognize what is good in their life and what could be even better and how they can make it so. A percentage of people out there, especially the earth signs, are likely to find the more spiritual side of this energy shows up, which means that think about all the times in your life when there has been a closure that you've been grateful for. Sometimes we're grateful right in the instance. We see how this is a good thing, and we're so glad for it. Sometimes in the moment, because we feel uncertain as to what this could mean for us, we may not realize the blessing, but normally it doesn't take too long. Now, this becomes more likely if you are an earth sign. So if you are a Taurus, Virgo or Capricorn, well, chances are this more spiritual side is going to come forward, but really everybody out there is going to find themselves holding both the spiritual and the possible, the acceptance, but also the growth, a sense of possibility and expansion, but also an opportunity to go within, to expand the soul and the psyche and the spirit. Both pathways do bring blessings to us now, and many people are going to experience a bit of both. That's part of the blessing of this time. In the energy of Aries, remember, wherever Aries is in your chart, it speaks to an area of life where you are invited to bring the joy, the openness, and the curiosity of a child. In that place, when you remember what was so fun for you to do, what you did so freely just because you loved it, it is in that place that the biggest blessings can flow for us now. But of course, considering the impulsive nature of the energy of Aries, there is some risk involved. When it is that we're impulsive, we're not necessarily thinking through to all the possible consequences of a given action. That can be part of the excitement of this time, yes, but it does open us to the risk of finding ourselves in situations and in moments where we hadn't completely appreciated where that inspiration and that impetus ultimately could lead. It is about trusting yourself, knowing yourself above and beyond anything else that'll reap the biggest rewards. And that includes that inspiration that says, go your own way and you'll be okay. At the same time, though, we do have energy this week that speaks to a sense of community, a sense of connection that we have with each other. So on the one hand, it really comes down to, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that Venus is moving into air sign Gemini. Now, the air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, they are decidedly social energies. They are energies that speak to our connections to other people. The energy of Gemini has to do with the spontaneous ways in which we can find correlations with others, the ways in which acquaintances themselves can be a great source of companionship and comfort and ease, the ways in which we can move through the world and see siblings in everyone that we encounter. This is the sign of the twin, after all. And its higher understanding is that all the world ultimately is the same as you. And that's very powerful to consider. And wherever Venus goes, it also brings with it blessings. This is the energy of the lower benefic. Jupiter is the energy of the higher benefic. So you can see here there are blessings on offer, ease on offer to a lot of us out there. But as it is that Venus moves into the sign of Gemini, we'll very quickly reach out to connect in supreme harmony with Pluto. Pluto, of course, very newly at the very beginning of the sign of Aquarius. This supremely harmonious energy in and of itself can be so powerful. It speaks to focus. It speaks to the ways in which the intensity of the heart can be directed to transform circumstances for the better. In this case, because we're looking at signs that are social, signs that are air, which means they have to do with conversation and intellect, well, it really is ideas, communicating, connecting with other people that can be part of opening up so many possibilities for us. It's focusing on where we can transform our connections with others from a place of heart that ends up having this momentum that creates positive momentum in so many different areas of life for us now. More personally, I think about how focus, transformation, a lot of that just comes down to how we relate to each other. That can be the most transformative activity we participate in now. Where it is that we allow ourselves to have those random conversations with other people, we may be exposed to ideas that truly end up expanding and transforming us on a level of heart, ultimately inviting us to love that much more, especially all whom we encounter as we move through our lives. But the energy does shift up a little bit once we get towards the end of the week. It is on Friday specifically that we are going to have Venus speaking in a conversation of tension with Saturn. So that's a little different. That's a little tricky. That energy in particular speaks to restraint, but it also speaks to reality checks. That's what happens with Saturn squares. As my dear friend Michael Barwick likes to say, with Saturn squares, you can't get what you want. Well, what I've found is Saturn squares show us what it is that we believe is worth working on and working towards. What is it that we believe is worth sacrificing for, and is it really the case? For some, it involves accepting the fact that we have sacrificed as much as we're going to, and this is no longer worth the work, and we're willing to go in a different direction. But sometimes with the Saturn square, we renew our resolve. We feel stronger within ourselves and more committed to the journey ahead. It invites us to contemplate and consider that much more deeply where it is that we are dedicated, and to be honest with ourselves if that dedication is warranted, if it is merited now. It is the energy of this week that encapsulates all of this. Whereas in the middle of the week, we have so much optimism, so much passion and focus and intensity. It does give way to an understanding that there's only so much we can control, and many times power is found in surrender and in trust. That sometimes our own vision can be so small that we don't realize how what is happening is actually good. We can be so intent on certain outcomes, people, places, things, situation, that we really want to be ours, right? We want to own people, places, things, situations. We want them to be a part of our experience. And yet, we don't always realize in the moment when those people, places, things, situations are not for us, that could be the greatest blessing of all. Power is found in the individual now, especially with all that Aries energy of the Sun and Jupiter. Now, I did speak about what the luckiest day of the year means for you in your sign in the monthly horoscopes here on my YouTube channel, so you may want to review that again. But remember, we don't live on islands. We don't live isolated. It's part of the dichotomy of being a human being. On the one hand, we need each other. We're deeply connected to each other. And it is in our connections to others that life becomes, on a practical level, more livable. But it is also in those connections that we find camaraderie. We know ourselves as less alone. We know ourselves as understood, which is a powerful healing balm. And yet there are moments that say it's okay to go your own way. It's okay to take a chance, to take a risk. Change can be scary, without a doubt. A big part of what makes it scary is that we don't know what it is that we're moving towards. And yet, with the Sun meeting Jupiter in the sky, in the sign of Aries, it ultimately comes down to a deep understanding that each of us, if you're here right now, it means that you have more to do. If you're here right now, it means that you have more to do in this lifetime. Even if the details aren't ironed out, even if you aren't clear exactly what that is, still, there's more to do in this lifetime for a period ahead. And so, embrace the journey, but also embrace the risk. Anything worth having sometimes has risk attached to it. That includes having joy, having love, having wisdom. We have to be open to where it is that love in our life is working and where it isn't, to ultimately work towards greater love than we've known before. That involves risk because we don't know, truly don't know, if we're going to find it. But it takes faith to say, you know what? Love is in the world. Love is everywhere I go. And to see where it is that that conviction takes you, well, that involves a lot of faith, yes, but it also involves risk as well. It is risk to say, I know that there's something great that I am doing now, even if I can't see it yet, even if I don't appreciate it. And I know that I have so much more to do in this lifetime, even if I don't know what that is just yet either. And to tap into that appreciation and that knowing within can be so powerful. Even if you don't know what that is, it can come together for you. And actually, it's usually in retrospect that we realize all of it does come together for us one way or another, and ultimately to our advantage, to our betterment. We have to have experiences in order to grow. And by growing, we cultivate wisdom. We have to be willing to open our hearts to love each other, humans, animals, birds, in order to understand that love is ultimately the essence of whom it is that we are when we are at our best. We are varied creatures, and sometimes with this energy of the sun and Jupiter, well, I think we're going to find more than one adrenaline junkie kind of moment in our own lives that may take us by surprise. But let that also take you to childlike wonder and play. That'll be the most rewarding decision you make, that intention to play with the impulse and see where it takes you, where it is that you're being good to yourself and good to others. You can't make a wrong choice. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I am going to say, oh, I love that luckiest day of the year, right? It's also a day of faith, of belief, of confidence, of knowing. But the thing with Jupiter is that you have to work with the energy to make the most of it. It's not necessarily like the nodes, right? The nodes of the moon, very widely used in astrology. The nodes of the moon ultimately speak to a karmic promise and karmic pathways forward. I spoke of the nodes at length in one of my books, The Universe is Wise and Loving. Links are below, of course, but suffice it to say, the nodes represent what it is that the soul desires to do with this lifetime, which doesn't always correspond with our conscious desires. And that's okay. Like I said, it all works together with a certain perfection. But the planets speak to what we want, why we want it, how we go about getting it. And so now here's this opportunity to figure out what it is we want, even if the details aren't there, to trust that our impulses will get us there. And energy like the sun meeting Jupiter really requires our participation to make the most of it. Great things can happen now. Absolutely. And that, in some way, is always the case. And yet, it is this conjunction that says the universe truly wants you to know how abundant opportunity is, how abundantly you can find love, how abundantly you can know whom it is that you are and find a newfound respect within. It is this energy that asks you to do something, anything that lights you up, that makes you feel like a little kid again, so that the universe can have lots of pathways with which to bring massive blessings into our lives now. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for it. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University has some incredible programs coming up this May, right around the corner. You've only got about 3 weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate for these classes that you're set to see here. I'm going to start with my incredible friend Ursula Stockter, one of our very popular teachers at Synchronicity University. She is a Jungian analyst. She's brilliant. She's compassionate, and she's coming back. She previously taught on Jung and tarot. That was such a rewarding class for so many people. Now she's bringing a very highly requested topic to Synchronicity University, and that is Jung and astrology. So you'll really get to see the chart from that perspective of individuation, which is the process of becoming your whole and conscious self. How can we tap into astrology to facilitate that journey? Well, mythology is a big part of it. And so Ursula is going to incorporate all of that and so much more. Now, if you missed her first class, Ursula has been kind enough to offer it for a limited time, along with choose your tuition rate for her upcoming class, Jung and Astrology. You can also, for a very limited time, thanks to her generosity, you can get her previous class as instant download as well. So you can get that for as low as $5 a class as well on the website on synchronicityuniversity.com. So check it out. Learn so much more about both of these programs, upcoming and previous, taught by the amazing Ursula Stockter at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University presents me, Nadiya Shah. Yes, I am coming back to Synchronicity University after a year away, and I am so excited. Can't wait to hang out with the students again. I will be teaching a class called Back to Basics. This will be rooted in my first book, Astrology Realized, and I'll take you through an understanding of how to read a birth chart. That's really what it comes down to. So we're going to look at planets and signs and houses. My approach to astrology is about looking at the chart for how it is that it supports your unique journey towards greater love and greater wisdom. And I do that in different ways. I love to incorporate mythology, of course, but I also love for students to connect with the planets and the symbols emotionally to cultivate your own relationship with them. And so this is a foundational course, but even if you are an experienced astrologer, I promise you will get something out of this class. And if it is that you've always wanted to read birth charts, well, this is the perfect class for you to take. Taught by me, coming up in May, and you've got 3 weeks left to choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from me at synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University presents an incredible speaker series coming up this May with incredible astrologers that I will be introducing to you, or you already know, here on my YouTube channel. In the coming days, you'll see my interviews with these absolutely brilliant astrologers. I love sharing them with you. And so our big dog for this session is Melissa Sonova. She is back, and she has previously taught 2 different programs. So previously, she taught a program on kitchen table tarot and another on kitchen table magic. Those courses were based on her best-selling books. Well, now she's bringing a single class, and it really is about helping you to understand what to do in that moment just before the reading, how to set up, how to choose your deck, what stones you might want to have out. And she's going to guide you through that process so that you can have that much more effective readings for yourself or for those you might serve with your practice. This is a wonderful single talk that I think students will get a lot out of, and Melissa has been kind enough to offer her previous classes for the Choose Your Tuition rate for a very limited time, as low as just $5 a class. Yes, you can go to synchronicityuniversity.com. You can get her previous programs, and you can sign up for this upcoming speaker series for this incredibly low rate. We have other speakers as well that I absolutely love. Franco is back, Franco Soulbody. Now, Franco is a brilliant astrologer. I've known him for so long, almost 20 years, if you can believe it. It's been a while that I've been around the conferences, and he was one of the very first people I spoke to when I went to my very first conference in 2006. And since then, he's become such a friend, so encouraging. He was one of the very first people I interviewed for Synchronicity Web TV way back in the day. It must have been like 2010 or 2011 in my downtown Toronto apartment at the time he came. Let me interview him, and I'll always be grateful for all that love and support he gave. And there's a talk that I saw him give before, and he's been building on that and wants to bring that talk to Synchronicity University. And it utilizes the chart of Charles Manson. I know, not the easiest figure, but it is a brilliant class that really helps you to understand the choices people make, the different ways in which a person might live their chart based on how they engage the chart and engage their life. In the interview I do with him, well, he goes through Neptune and musical trends through the ages. So that is an interview you don't want to miss here on my YouTube channel coming up in the next few days. Natalie Levin is brilliant and beautiful and amazing. I adore this person. She just brings so much heart and care and nurturing to astrology, and you can really see it. She records videos regularly on Instagram, and you'll see her interview coming up here. But yes, she's coming to Synchronicity University as part of the May 2023 speaker series. And Natalie is going to be talking about how to engage clients during a reading with compassion. And so this reminds me way back in the day, we're going way back, like 20 years, before I went pro. So it's been a while. And I remember I was working at the college I was attending at the time, and I was doing readings for, the other people, the other kids around. And I remember one of these people came back to me and she said, you remember you said that to me about relationships and stuff. And I realized, like, oh my God, I had said something to this person that has become some sort of a tape in her mind about what kind of relationships she can have or not. And that was me before I was pro. That was me as a very young lady. And that really was a huge lesson for me, that to do astrology for myself or for others, it does require ethics and responsibility. And how do you do that with heart and love and compassion? Natalie is the perfect person to teach on that. Helene Ceriso, I love Helene with Heart House Astrology. She's coming back to Synchronicity University as well. She's going to be talking all about the Venus retrograde season. Yes, that is coming up. I had so much fun talking to her. If you're on my Instagram or TikTok, you've got lots of clips, or you'll be seeing more and more clips of these different interviews I did, especially with her. I had so much fun talking about this really wild Venus retrograde season we have coming up very soon. Venus will go into shadow in June, go retrograde in July, stay retrograde into September, stay in shadow into October. That's a huge chunk of time. What can you expect? What might you learn? Well, we talk about that in that interview, and she dives even deeper into that in her talk. And my fellow Canadian, Dustin Cormier, I loved talking to him as well. He is such a rising star, and he's rising fast in astrology now. He is confident and brilliant and insightful, and he is going to be doing a talk rooted in a Vedic technique called the friend-enemy technique to understand the relationship that planets have to each other. So this is one not to miss, especially if you'd like to get a little bit of a feel of what Eastern Vedic astrology is about. And especially from his perspective, it could be a wonderful class. And so sign up now. You've got 3 weeks left to choose your tuition rate, as low as just $5 a class, to learn from these incredible astrologers now. Synchronicityuniversity.com. Links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your love. Of course, with all this wonderful astrology coming up this week, I will have announcements. So make sure you stay in touch with me through social media and here as well on my YouTube channel. I really look forward to sharing some new things with you coming up in the days, literal days ahead as we move towards the luckiest day of the year. Remember, monthly horoscopes will give you a better idea of how this energy will speak to you in your sign. You may want to watch your sun and rising and maybe even your moon sign as well and synthesize the information to see how it may speak to you as part of your unique journey. And again, this video is part of a fundraiser for the Global Fund for Women. They fund justice movements around the world. I have felt so powerless since the things that I learned and saw during my recent travels. And this is something. It's my first step towards helping women who haven't had the privileges that I've had, who deserve it, because the truth is we all deserve it, everyone on this planet. And I really do believe personally, all of us are divine. We are children of the divine, humans, animals, birds, all of us. We all deserve love. And it is love that ultimately can change us to be more brave, more brilliant, and truly more kind selves to ourselves and to others around us. Love is an energy of awareness. It is not escaping awareness. It's not escaping reality. And so I'm trying to figure out this love I feel, how to direct it. So this is something that I can do, at least for now, and at least for today, as I continue to figure it out in front of you all. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for your love. I'm truly so grateful for it. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive videoscopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there.